That Sports Couple podcast brings you this special edition of Baseball Talk with Coach Marty.
Brought to you by
Today's guest is Riverside Academy Rebels head coach Jade Falgoust.
Welcome to That Sports Couple. I'm Coach Marty, and we have a guest today, Jade Falgoust, the head baseball coach at Riverside Academy. Coach, how you doing?
Good, Coach. How are you? Thanks for having me.
We're thrilled to have you. What we're doing here, we're doing some little pullouts with each school, giving the coaches a chance to talk about their team, give us a little recap of the first 3 weeks and what's coming forward, and then we'll look down the road. We're hoping to do this every couple of weeks with the softball people in between. So once again, thanks for being here. But you all off to a great start, 8-4 right now, and playing well.
Yeah, Coach. We started off on a good note. Had a couple wins, and the four losses. You always look back at those and see what could we have done differently. A couple innings here and there that really hurt us. The guys joke. I always talk about got to get out of that first inning. Can't let that snowball start because it always gets bigger and bigger. And there was a few innings there in those four losses, and even in some of those wins, actually, that as you and I talked about the St. John Plaquemine game, that we just couldn't stop. Once that thing got going downhill, it just got bigger and bigger, and we just couldn't stop it. And just there was some things that we couldn't come back from, but still competing. Um, Proud of the guys, and we got some really young guys stepping up. With an already young team, you hope those you can lean on those older guys, but when the whole team's young, it's kind of you have no choice but to lean on young guys.
Yeah, and you've had to bring some real young guys up to fill in some spots for injuries
Yeah.
and it's not unusual in a small school to bring up young guys though.
Right.
And you've got some pitchers. I think you got some arms that have been holding up for you. Let's talk a little bit about your start and who's been playing well.
Yeah. So, no shocker to you. I'm sure you would believe that Aiden Bullock and Brody Vicknair um, coming along for us. And statistically speaking, if I showed you the stats, you wouldn't think that some guys were playing as well as I would tell you they were. But we got some guys in some key spots that are doing their job, doing what they have to do for us to be successful, for us to win. Brock Bourgeois has been solid for us at shortstop. Cruz Calm has an arm injury right now, but he's actually hitting lead off for us right now, doing a really good job. Um, and then we have some guys step up. Colton Diamond's doing great for us on the mound as well as at the plate. He's kind of going through a knee thing right now that hoping to get him back pretty soon. Just kind of banged it up a little bit, but it's giving some other guys some opportunities to step up and show us what they can do, and hopefully that creates a little depth. Especially with basketball just ending, we get Caden Brumfield back full time. So we're trying to get him some live at bats and things at practice while guys throw bullpens, just to for him to see some bullets before we just throw him into a game. Because it's January for him. It's not like all the other kids. So I don't want to just stick him in there and he goes over his first 10 and then he's done mentally, right?
Right.
So gotta slowly stick him in there. But for us to be successful, I think a senior center fielder who's been starting for a few years would be very beneficial.
Your pitching has been great. You've got some really big performances, certainly out of Jace Ruiz, and then one from Brody Vicknair too. You want to talk
Yeah.
about a little bit about your pitching?
Yeah, absolutely. We going into the season, especially after talking to you a little bit and some of the assistants, they they all thought it, and so did I think that was something we would have to lean on. But with some injuries, and some unfortunate circumstances, we've had to force other guys to pitch a little more than they may have in the past, and one of those being Brody Vicknair, um, who's a phenomenal catcher, and luckily we have a freshman in Will Roush who, um, can spare him behind the plate and catch a little bit when we need Brody on the mound. And he comes in and starts the game this past Saturday against the Ritter, and 5 innings, perfect game, 10-run rule, and we needed that one after taking a few on the chin. So that was big time for us, and I'm sure you can imagine he pitches just like he plays linebacker. Like he's backing up to the mound when the ball is on the way. He catches it and he's ready to pitch. The umpire has to stop him a lot, but it's fun to play behind a guy like that, right? You're always in the game, you're always involved. And Jace is the same way. Jace threw against Cedar Creek up in the Monroe tournament. Well, in Ruston, technically is where we played. And he threw 6 innings. He had 15 strikeouts, and we didn't even Thomas didn't even have to call a pitch. We were telling Brody just let him go, But it got to a point to where I kind of brought the coaches together and to make sure we stayed in the game, to make sure the guys behind him stayed in the game, because walks, you can easily fall asleep in the field, but same thing, 15 strikeouts, no balls are really being put in place, so it's easy to fall asleep there as well. So we had to do our job to make sure we tried to keep those guys in the game.
I was watching it and I kind of turned it on as the game was in progress, and the first inning I saw, he struck out 10 pitches. And he was just throwing gas, and he's a quality pitcher. He did a great job last year. And then once again, one of the guys who stood up for us last year did a good job, is also doing well, and that's Gage Thompson as well, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. He opening second game of the season, he threw really well against HL Bourgeois. And he's been putting in a lot of innings for us. We kind of put him in some bad spots in two of the games in the middle of the season. We made some errors, and it kind of made his stats look a little different than they should, right? And then he came back against, excuse me, that was Thursday night. He had thrown Thursday against Thibodeau, and he put on a show. He did a really good job. He gave us a chance to win against a really good Thibodeau team with Shane's son on the mound. It's a left-hander going to play college baseball, and we struggled a little bit against him. And Gage did everything that he could. He gave us a chance. It was a 1-run ball game for a while, until the very end when they took a 5-0 lead. But he competed, and that's just who he's been for the most part.
Yeah, Shane's son's a lefty, isn't he?
Yes, he
Yeah,
is.
he's gonna be. Yeah, he's signed with he's committed to Northwestern. So
Correct. Right.
I know Shane's talking about retiring after this and following him a little bit. So I mean,
I'm sure he'll enjoy it.
yeah,
Finally get to be a dad.
finally get to be a dad. But he's been doing it a long time. I hired him at St. James back in '91. Give you '01, to give you an idea how far back he's been coaching. So, but Shane does a good job, and that's a good little program he's got going over there. Well, I know you brought up some young guys that have had some 8th grade guys and some freshmen that you've kind of asked to do some extra work. Talk about them a little bit and how they've stepped up.
Yeah, Will Roush has been really, really good for us. I call him Bugs Bunny. And they didn't get the joke because I guess they never watched cartoons. But when Bugs Bunny plays Marvin the Martian in baseball on Mars, Bugs Bunny plays every position, right? And that's kind of what Bo's doing. Will's doing for us right now. He's played so far this year. He has pitched, caught, played third, played first. I want to say potentially second, and also played right field at one point. So it's kind of make a lineup, and he plays the open spot, depending on who's pitching. And it's a lot. It's been a lot on him, I'm sure, mentally, but it doesn't hurt that he's one of the smartest kids on the team, right?
Right.
And he's very mature for a freshman, especially. So he's handling it really well. with some of the injuries we're having, he's actually hitting in the 5 hole for us, holding his own,
I was
doing
going to
really
say
well.
he's been a good hitter. He's not, and he's a contact guy. Very seldom strike.
Right, right. He's doing everything we asked him to do, and that's all you can ask for,
Yeah.
especially in a young guy like that. And then early in the season, Bo Brock, um, we pulled him up, and he's an eighth grader. He started almost every game for us somewhere in the outfield.
Mhm.
Going into the season, we had the middle schoolers practicing with us
Mhm.
just because of a numbers thing and trying to get more reps here and there. And Coach Loving kept telling me, "Man, Bo Brock's a really good outfielder. Bo Brock's really, but he's a young kid, and so you don't know if he could really handle it yet, physically at the plate, especially."
Mhm.
And we had our first little winter squad, and he gets a base hit, so kept giving him a little more and more, and every time we would throw him in there, just throw him to the wolves, he would have a little success. And he never found his way out of the lineup. We he gets 2 strikes and he'll jump across the plate and headbutt a baseball. He's to find a way on base. So he's doing really well for us, doing everything that he has to do to keep himself in the lineup. Um, Sitting pretty in that 9 hole, seeing those fastballs, getting on base from turn it over for Brody and Bullock and those guys.
Yeah, definitely working for you. And then now this weekend you've got the Letcher tournament, and then things kind of settle. We were talking about that with other coaches that after that fourth weekend, things start to get back to where you stretch where your pitching isn't as stressed as it is in those tournament times.
Right. Yeah, we actually spoke about that as a staff. I feel like we haven't had because of rain and snow, crazy, and games every other day. You just feel like we haven't had a normal practice on the field in a while. I told those guys, I said, man, I know looking at my calendar now with 4 games in 3 days this weekend, but next week, hopefully at least Monday and Tuesday, we could have a normal couple days of practice before we go play a few games and really get the second half of the season started. Now that we have we'll have these tournaments out of the way.
Well, the 8 wins does something that we didn't get a chance to do last year, and that's to relax and realize that you're probably power ratings wise, you'll be fine and make yourself in the playoffs. Last year we were struggling to get into that 20th spot.
Yeah, yeah, that's something the kids were talking about. They were excited about that. You know, double digit wins. I told them that once we hit double digit wins, we get to 10 wins. That's when we can potentially practice in shorts. Again, so they are all excited about that. And when we have our hit and get days, if it's raining, we just hit inside. Um, we could potentially practice in shorts on those days, but we got to get to double digit wins first.
That's a good way to hold them. There's their hands to the fire there.
Yeah.
Well, coming down the road, any big games that you're looking forward to? I mean, I know you got St. Martin's. The district is just a weekend. Is just a little 1 week tournament. But anything
Right.
that you're really looking forward to?
So we have a tough couple of days this weekend, obviously with the Lutcher tournament. Two really quality opponents in Santa Maria and U High, um, and the other two opponents we have are East St. John and Morgan City, who are also 4A, 5A opponents there. You know how it is when you play somebody from down the road. It's always different. It's not a baseball game. It's it could turn into something different.
Yeah.
Then next week, Newman and Haynes. Newman is a team that I know last year we had a shot to win that game and ended up falling short. So I know the kids are really looking forward to that one. Um, and then Haynes, got Coach Stroh. He's coming back. So I told him I'd let him throw out the first pitch at the game. And then
Sure.
on March 22nd, we actually having our alumni day.
Okay.
Um, Having our alumni day, trying to invite the um 95 state championship team back because it'll be 30 years since that
Yeah.
team won a state championship, and also other alumni as well, trying to get as many guys at the game as possible.
That was Stroh's team, right?
That was Coach Fernandez.
Oh, okay. 95.
Yeah, Coach Fernandez was 95.
Who are those guys? Give them a shout out.
Ryan, Robbie Ruiz, Jason's dad. Ryan Lusto was on that team. Tell you what, the guy that's in charge of it for me just walked through the door and making a guest appearance. Coach Mickey Russo. Coach, who were the guys on that 95 team? Ronnie Mader, Travis Duhon, Ryan Lusto. Just a few guys there. Kenny
That's
Kong, yeah, that was and then Coach Fernandez was the head coach, and Clem was his assistant.
Clem was the assistant. Okay. Well, that's awesome. Well, enjoyed visiting with you and talking about the program and the kids and what's coming. And it's an exciting time at Riverside, baby. I'm excited for y'all.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot, Coach. Hope to see you around.
All right. We'll try to do this, meet again in about 2 weeks. Would that be work for you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Jade Falgoust, 8-4 Riverside, playing well. Good seeing you, babe. You take care. Have a good weekend.
You too, Coach. Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.